I've got this 2000 Honda Accord SE with a broken window regulator, and was watching a video by Parts Dismantlers, which was a great two-part video on how to replace that. And so I pulled this door apart, and it was nothing like what I saw in that other video. So in his video, he's got some attachments down here. I don't have that. So it looks like on my model, for some reason, you got to bring the window all the way up to these holes up here, and that's where your connection's going to be to detach the regulator from the actual glass. So at this point, I'm just winging it. So I got the window taped up, and I was a little bit suspicious when I saw the part that I bought didn't look anything like the part he installed on the video. So I guess I just have to figure it out, and hopefully this doesn't go very wrong. As I was taking apart the door, this popped out. This was in the bottom, right in there. So that's the piece that came off the motor. That's why the window was stuck down. So I guess I'll just keep taking things apart and see what happens. You can see right here, that's about where those holes are. If you've got this same model of car, I don't know why it's different from the other one. That's where they'll be. We'll see what happens. Matching up the holes, the bolts on the door with the new part. This is a vertical piece, whereas the piece in the other video was horizontal. So that's the big difference, I guess. So what I'm going to have to do is take out those two bolts and those two at the bottom and detach the bolts on the motor over here, and then try to jimmy that thing out somehow. It's all torn apart in there, and you can see, because that white plastic piece I showed you a minute ago came out, this whole thing went crazy in there, and there's a spring that's loose, and it's all kind of nuts in there. So I'm gonna have to just kind of tear that out. I don't know how, but and then try to fit this piece back in somehow. Probably rather be watching football right now, but here we are. So you got to take those three out. That one, it's a funky bolt, goes in the top of the motor, and then I'm going to have to detach this electrical connector right here. The new part and the old part, you can see how that old one got mangled. Probably just because it's 20 years old. Things happen. So I'm just going to slide that back in, bolt it up. Guys, I'm not a mechanic. I don't really know what I'm doing. So if I can do this, you probably can too. That's the bolt that goes in that top hole. It attaches into this top hole right there of the motor mount. Here's a mistake I made. You can see I got that top hole lined up. That's great. Those two nuts down there on the bottom, you got to loosen those up so you can slide them into those big holes above and pop it down. Like that. That should work better. So I've discovered if you come in kind of sideways like this, and then when you're inside, you reach your hand in and it's a tight squeeze. You turn it up vertical. So once you have those tightened up, you got to reach in here, left hand through here, push this connector through the bottom hole so you can spin it around. You can see that orange piece slides into that orange piece. Obvious it's color coded, and then you got that little snap inside. Pop that snap in the back, connect that, connect it back up, you're on your way. Actually, that's just an extra piece. This piece and this piece are the same. What I need to do is take this orange piece off this connector and slide it onto the existing one, because that's okay. So now, reach inside. This is your same access hole. Reach inside, take that vertical rail. You can move this frame around, line up your holes, put the bolts back in, those bolts down at the bottom. And then I think, unless I'm missing something, should be on our way to putting it back together. You can see I loosened the window up, brought it back down, and you can see inside those access holes. Just drop it down, line it up, and you'll notice a little bit different size. It's these two longer ones that go in the window. You'll probably notice that when you pull them out, but make sure you keep those in mind and use those longer ones to remount the glass to the regulator. Because I usually do this the wrong way, I decided to reattach these real quick, turn the car on auxiliary and test that out. Looks like I got it right. So I got the plastic back up since the window works, and that bracket, I forgot to take a picture of that as I was taking it apart. I usually take pictures of things so I know how to put it back together. It seems to fit this way. I hope it's right. I have no idea. Put those two screws in there. And that's why that funky bolt up there has an extra thread, because you put this nut back on top of that. That's the same nut or bolt that attaches the motor. So that's it. I'm going to fish these, attach those connectors back to the door, fish everything through, fish that light through, put the panel back on, and be done. So I hope this was helpful in some way. Next thing I'm going to do is take this inside and tell my wife that I'm going to try to repair it, and she's going to freak out. But really I'm not. I'm just throwing it away.